Hi everybody, and welcome back to the shop. I really hope everybody's healthy and well out there. And in order to practice some more social distancing, I'm going to make a box for this guy. The only disappointing aspect to this project is I can't do this on one board because I'm going to utilize what I have on hand, and I only have 4-foot length boards. At a 6-foot length board, we could do it in one. So we're going to have some scraps, which won't go wasted, but it's just frustrating when you have to cut into a good board just for one little piece. Okay, this next part to me is quite critical in the overall design. It's more of an aesthetic thing or an artistic expression. I believe when you do finger joints, you should start and end the same. Finger on the top, then finger on the bottom, no finger, no finger. And by being symmetrical like that, oftentimes you end up with a center key as well. And that does two things for you. One, I think it looks visually pleasing by having an opening and closing that is the same. And then what that does for you is, unless your measurements are absolutely perfect, if you're going through a conventional finger joint jig, you're going to go left to right all the way through. Well, unless that wood is absolutely precise, the end might be a little smaller than the beginning. Well, by having a center key, what you can do is you start from one end, just when you get to that center point, flip it over and then continue the other way. And then the center key part will just be whatever size it ends up being, but at least it'll be symmetrical in a sense because only that finger will be a different width than all of the rest. So it looks like it's on purpose. This box joint jig I'm using has the added benefit that most don't let you do. You get to use one blade, but you can make each finger any size you want. No resetting, no moving, no nothing. You're turning a crank, and the blade is 1/8 of an inch wide, so you just count your numbers. Let me give you an example right here. Here's a previous box that I have built. As you can see here how the finger I was talking about, it starts and ends with the same finger. Now in this one I made variable width fingers, some small, then large, and you see here is that center key I was talking about. Beauty is that as I'm cutting through, I go up to here, I go up to here, and then whatever that finger ends up being, it ends up being that size. And your eyes really won't pull onto it because it's so symmetrical and it's one finger by itself. So that's my little tip. You don't have to take that if you don't want to, but I think that really helps. And laying out, this becomes the most difficult part, doing the math to get the evenly spaced, size fingers. Okay, doing some dry fitting at the moment, looking for any issues that I can address, and there were some, which normally I don't have any problems with that jig. Somehow my table saw started not running true, and then the fingers start coming out a little bit crooked. As if this project wasn't difficult enough, I'm going to make it even more difficult by putting a inset panel, not just recessed. There'll be a slot I'm going to cut in on the inside so the panel will fit in there. Don't even have to glue it in place. It'll be loose. And then on the top, I'm going to sort of do the same thing, but it'll be a sliding lid. So I wanted to stop for a moment to go over some of the issues I've been having and provide a tip, if you will. So the biggest problem I've been having was struggling on figuring out how I wanted to use the latching mechanism. Do I want a tab to pull on? Did I want a knob? Did I want magnets? I ended up going back to the very original idea, and that piece that I cut off, I just glued onto the end. And actually, when you put it in there, it looks so much nicer. It's clean, the grain matches. So my tip is, don't second guess yourself. There's a lot of issues with the finger joints. Fingers look terrible. However, we're going to be able to fix it, and only you and I are going to know there were lots of mistakes. I'm also going to add some handles on the end. Any excuse I can to use some Osage orange, I'm going to put it in there. And that's all there is to it. Off camera, I went through and I filled in all of the gaps with a mixture of wood glue and some of the sanding dust, as I mentioned. I made my own wood putty, if you will. And then after that, I went through and I rounded the corners, as you can see, to help level it all out so any finger misalignment got fixed. And one thing I thought might be worth noting too is I did put a clear, well, excuse me, let me back up. I did oil the outside with some basic Danish oil from Watco, and then follow up with some type of clear. Well, when I started, I went with this Varathane Ultimate polyurethane. It's the oil-based interior one. I found that I do like this Minwax a lot. For me, it was a little bit better. What I've noticed is it's a lot thinner, so you will get runs much easier with the Minwax than you will with this one. So that is basically done. And time to put the Nutcracker in and then stick this back up into the loft. So thank you for watching, and I got some more projects. You can see I got one here ready to go. I'm going to be doing some, what I'm referring to as some fitness videos. I'm going to be making a bench for working out, and I have an idea for another project that you'll just have to come back and check it out. Until next time, you take care.